Yes, sure. Okay, so we have people joining in.
Welcome everyone who's joining us in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Namaste.
Welcome everybody. Welcome Savita ji. Welcome Suneli. Welcome Oleg. Everyone.
Blessings. Thank you for coming. If you get a chance, just in the chat, let us know where you're from, where you're dialing in from. We want to hear where you're living and where your mind has become to love Jyotish. Oh, Brooklyn. Wonderful. Namaste from Brooklyn. Gotta love Brooklyn. I've been there many times. Namah Shivaya Savita-ji, blessings. Hara Hara Mahadev, Lord Shiva will be with us today.
Yes.
We're just going to give 5-10 minutes for people to roll on into the course here. Then we're going to get started.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what a coincidence. Today is a World Earth Day and we are going to learn Astro Cartography from you. So great coincidence today.
That is a beautiful coincidence. Yeah, today
Yes.
is Earth Day. It's a
Yes.
beautiful day to honor this God's creation, all of the plants, all
Absolutely.
the animals, and celebrate the
Yes.
gift of nature. And what better way to do that than finding which place in the world is going to be best for us?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know if I told you this, Madhura ji, but I got invited to present at Astrology conference in Sedona, Arizona.
Wow. Wonderful.
Do you know Sri Dr. Dennis Harness?
Yes, absolutely.
He was the founder, so he invited me. I was so excited.
Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm teaching about Astro Cartography.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is going to be great.
yeah, I'm excited. And there are so
Yes.
many astrologers there that I get goosebump, like they're Hollywood celebrity when I think about them.
Oh.
Like Camilla Sutton,
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Harness, Arjun Pai,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Jeppy,
Wow.
Joni Paltry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I just get I'm just so excited. I can't even.
Wow. Great, great.
Yeah.
All the very best to you for the conference.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I've never been so excited and nervous for the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think we should start it?
Sure, sure. Is my audio and everything good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's start.
Yes. So, everybody, welcome to the webinar of Saptarishis Astrology. And we are doing this for our upcoming astrocartography course, which is going to be taught by Kṣaṇāti himself. So, I hope you do your registrations before time because we are going to start the course on 20th of May. So, do your registrations. And now we are in the second part of the promoting webinars, and all over to you, Kṣaṇāti.
Namaste. Thank you, Madhura ji. As always, it is a blessing to be here to doing this divine work of Jyotish with so many divine members of the astrological community. Welcome everyone who's joining us live today and who's watching this webinar from Saptarishis Astrology YouTube channel. We're very excited to be focusing on Vedic Astro Cartography, which is a very exciting and integrative science, which is taking planetary energy across different cities, states, countries, unique to each individual. So you can find whether certain places in the earth will be auspicious for you, or certain places on this earth will be inauspicious for you. And today we're going to be focusing on love. Everybody loves love, right? So we're going to be talking about love, romance, marriage, partnership, but also the aim of life, which is Kama, which is the fulfillment of our soul's passions and desires on the deepest of levels. And that might include marriage. That might include becoming a parent, but the soul's desires are beyond just this. I'm gonna just share the webinar here.
Yes.
Welcome everyone. Saptarishis Astrology and Kṣaṇāti Jyotish present Astro Cartography, the greatest tool for love. And even though we're going to be focusing on love today, it's really much deeper than that because we're focusing on Kama, one of the 4 traditional Vedic aims of life. Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam, Arogya Mula Muttamum. The 4 aims of life are the purpose of our incarnation. So here we are looking at Kama, which is the manifestation of our soul desires. Hopefully through this webinar today, we can use astrocartography, this very innovative, integrative science, to empower us fulfilling our dreams. That means whatever dreams we have, us accomplishing those dreams. And that encourages romantic success, supports the possibility of marriage, and any other type of soul desires which we might have. My name is Kṣaṇāti. I'm a Vedic astrologer from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in North America, in the United States. I have completely devoted my soul and life to Jyotish, and I am always available for private support. This is my website, jyotishastrology.org. This is my email, kṣaṇātijyotish@gmail.com. And then I also have social media where I am posting constant updates so that you may know about relevant transits, certain video mantras, things of that nature for your daily life. When we look at the greatest tool for love today, I've broken it up into 8 different parts. We're going to talk a lot about this. I've really developed a strong method on this. I was looking back at some of my earlier work with astrocartography, and it has gotten much more detailed. It has gotten much more specific. It has gotten much more organized. So I continue to refine this, this method of the use of the Vedic astrocartography. Again, if you have no idea what astrocartography is, it's okay, because I'm going to discuss what is astrocartography, the use of free astrocartography software, an application of how we use astrocartography with the ancient Vedic science of Jyotish. Then we're going to do a preview for our 10-class Saptarishis astrology course on astrocartography, which start on May 20. And then we'll dive into all of these aspects, Kama in astrocartography, soulmate partnership or marriage in astrocartography, and also romance, dating, and sexuality or sexual energy in astrocartography. And then we'll go through some examples that I've set up. I have some examples using myself, and also the community has voted, and they want to look at Angelina, Jolie, and Brad Pitt astrocartography love. So we'll do that together as well. Before we get started, I just want to introduce everyone to my guru. This is Amma Amritananda Mahima, also known as the Hugging Saint from Kerala of South India. She became my guru when I was a teenager, and I always like to invoke prayer to her in hopes that she will assist us with our work here today, for her soul is so selfless. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu cha saka tvameva, tvameva veja dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam amriteshvariyema. Tvameva sarvam amriteshwarye mama. Tvameva sarvam amriteshwarye namaha. Hari Om, Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste. So what is astrocartography? Now, for those of you who've seen my astrocartography webinars before, this might be old information to you, but I like to include this because there are going to be people who have no idea what the astrocartography is. When we're looking at astrocartography, this map here, it shows a map of certain planetary lines and vortexes set at the moment of birth. So these are the various lines here. This blue line, if you look at the top of the blue line, you'll see the symbol for moon. If you look at the top of this green line, you'll see the symbol for Venus. Here, this black line, the symbol of Rahu. And these lines contain those planetary energies, so those planetary energies are affected along those places. When I talk about a vortex, this is a point where the energy is most concentrated, and this looks like a circle. So here we have a pink line with the circle here. This is a very strong Jupiter line. This line here, this symbol is Jupiter. So we're looking at a Jupiter vortex just off the coast of India for me. I think that's awesome. I have a Jupiter vortex near India. Now, as astrocartography is the science which allows for the interpretation and understanding of these planetary lines and vortexes. So it's a real science to understand and interpret what these lines and vortexes mean for each individual. Jim Lewis, early 1900s astrologer, was the founder of astrocartography. And one of his intention was to create a form of astrology which surpassed the tropical sidereal shift. Again, that's the difference between Western and Vedic astrology. So this science of astrocartography, it is beyond any type of argument between Western and Vedic, which both mean Western astrology can use astrocartography and Vedic astrology can use astrocartography. The only thing this will be different will be the interpretation, but the lines themselves will be exactly the same. Here is a personal astrocartography map just to know what it looks like. I explained a little bit about it. This is the United States. I have the moon and Venus in Colorado and New Mexico, for example. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I just want to give everyone a taste of what the astrocartography map looks like. Then we're going to go over in a scientific way of how to analyze it. Now, everyone has access to free astrocartography software from their home, from their house, that is very efficient, very, very good software, okay? And so you don't have to worry if it is a Western astrology website. Again, the interpretation can be Western or Vedic, but the software, it is beyond that argument. Now, Sri Jyotish star is very good for Vedic astrocartography, but it's very expensive. So I'm going to explain some free software option. The free software can be used by traveling to astro.com. selecting free horoscope, and then click Astro Travel. Astro Travel. The direct link is here, so just pause yourself if you're watching this video and just type in that direct link. Then I want you to put all of the birth details into that Astro Travel horoscope, and then you will be shown all major planetary lines, which are harmonious and disharmonious for your understanding of your astrocartography. Now, astrocartography is very complicated. I recommend a professional astrocartographer if you want your astrocartography analyzed. But it doesn't mean that by looking at it yourself, you can't understand it. It is self-explanatory, especially if you have knowledge of Jyotish. So how do we apply astrocartography to the ancient science of Jyotish? What we do is we take one's astrocartography map and we align it to the D1 chart, to the Lugna D1 chart, the natal birth chart. We compare the areas of the life, the aims of life, and karmas affected by planetary influence in the natal chart. In other words, we take our understanding of the natal chart and we integrate that into understanding the astrocartography. For example, in my ACG, my sun line, it goes through Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where I live now. That's where I was born. And also, the sun is in the 10th house in my birth chart. So therefore, the sun lines support 10th house. So if I'm in Philadelphia, my 10th house is very supported, which mean my career, which mean my life purpose, which mean my relationship with my father. These are just many examples. Now, before we get into analyzing astrocartography together, I want to do a preview for this astrocartography course. We're starting to get signups for this course, and we really want to get as many signups as possible. Spots are limited. So if you are considering getting into this course, please sign up as soon as possible. I highly encourage you to sign up as soon as possible for this course, as space is limited and you might not be able to join this course if you are to wait any longer. The course is called Vedic Astro Cartography, the Astrology of Geography. It starts on May 20th, 8:30 p.m. India Standard Time. That'll be 11 a.m. in the Eastern United States, 10 a.m. in the Central United States, and 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, the Western United States. It is $220 for the whole course. That's $22 per class, $22 per class. I think that's a very affordable class. And also, if you've ever done a reading with me, if you've ever studied with me, I will give you 10% discount over price on course as well. So again, take all of this in. I really want everyone to come join this course as soon as possible. It's going to be extremely exciting. This is a very innovative field of Vedic astrology. There is much research to be done. And so these students that come to me, we're going to do amazing research together for Vedic astrocartography. So I highly encourage you to join this course. I know Medora and I are both very excited.
Yes, absolutely. And this type of course is like never done before in the history of Vedic astrology.
That's true.
So, yes. So definitely, I really want all of you to join the course and get benefited out of it.
Thank you, Medora-ji.
Thank you.
So if you're wondering how to join the course, we can definitely have you join the course. Best way is to go to Saptarishis shop. Again, that's saptarishishop.com. If you're at home, pause this webinar and just type this in. Or here is the direct link. This is the direct link. If you input this direct link, it will take you directly to the link to purchase the course. And again, it will start May 20 and will last until July 29 for 10 classes. Just a little taste of what to expect. Astrocartography is such a vast science. I mean, there's so much more research than the research I've already been doing for the past few years. So we're going to be diving into all of these aspects. Today, we get a preview of love, romance. That is just one of many topics. We will talk about history of astrocartography. We will talk about what the scientific glyph interpretation of the different symbols are, how to interpret the map, how to use different softwares. We will also do how it was traditionally interpreted in Western versus how it will be interpreted in the Vedic Astro Cartography. We will do the inherent karmas of all of the different cartography line, sun line, moon line, malefic line, benefic line, how to understand the astrocartography from an auspicious, inauspicious, benefic, malefic perspective. We will use dasha periods to understand astrocartography because the dasha will act like magnet. We will go over, see this later in today, how the dasha was magnet for my astrocartography. And for many of us, we don't even understand how strong this magnet is, because usually, whether we know of our astrocartography or not, we are close to our dasha line. If not, it might be some challenging. And along with the dasha analysis, we'll do travel analysis, tourism. Where's a good place to go on vacation? Where's a place you really shouldn't go on vacation? We'll also talk about ACG and the Dharma, the soul's purpose, the soul's destiny, the purpose of our incarnation. What places in the globe is it easier for us to be respected and feel comfortable in ourselves? And what other places in the world is it make us uncomfortable, like no one will understand us? How do we align to our soul purpose? How do we align to our soul self? How do we align to our gifts and our strengths and our positives versus our weaknesses and our challenges? We will also use ACG to focus on business, career, artabhava, and this includes material success, like money. We will also use ACG and romantic love, attraction, and kama, and that's what everyone's going to be getting a preview for today. And then also spirituality, ACG, and where we can go for the guru, where we can go for temple, where we can go for spiritual evolution and the alignment of our highest spiritual potential. And then also ACD and dangerous accidents. Where should we avoid to be safe? And then also ACG and health and longevity. This means certain places on the earth will have us live much longer life than other places on this earth. So as we dive into this first topic of kama and ACG, we have to understand that astrocartography can be a powerful tool to help align to one's kama and to fulfill the soul's deepest desires. Now, kama includes marriage. Kama includes becoming a parent. But before we talk about these areas, we're talking about a much deeper aspect of kama, because each individual has unique soul desires. So kama varies greatly from one person to another. Some of us have our kama in common, and some of us have our common and not common. For example, an athlete kama is to reach championship athletic event. For actor, kama is to receive reward for acting, like Golden Globe, like Oscar. For a musician, kama has to have best-selling album or a successful live tour. So certain aspects of kama we have in common, like marriage, children, but other aspects of kama are very, very, very unique. Every individual has unique kama. When looking for AC-related kama activation, we look at the kama houses, 3rd house, 7th house, and 11th house. These energies of these houses have strongest kama vibration. And when we analyze the energies in this planet, the signs must also be heavily considered. If the energy in these kama's houses is auspicious in terms of planetary dignity, in terms of the planetary alignment, it can be very favorable for kama. If you have an exalted Jupiter or moon in your 7th house or your 11th house, then your Jupiter and your moon line will be really, really good for your kama vibration, the fulfillment of your soul's passions and desires. And once we take all of those energies, which are in your 3rd house and your 7th house and your 11th house, and we transfer those to the astrocartography, that's where we can find out where in the world will be most auspicious for your karma. Now, when we focus in on a more specific area, which is the soulmate partnership, we call this marriage. Although nowadays, people are soulmates and they still choose to not get married. So this is why I say ACG and the soulmate partnership. But this means that there's a perfect soul compatible counterpart for every individual. And so aligning to that through astrocartography. It can remove obstacles. Many people in their life, they never have fallen in love. They never find person of their soulmate. They never feel this connection of energy. It's possible their astrocartography, I'm sure their natal chart karma is also part of this. But it is also possible that the astrocartography is why they have no date, why they have no attraction, why all the relationship have conflict. And when you align to the best place for this marriage partnership energy, it is only going to encourage the closest possibility for you and your soulmate to meet. For example, if there is a soulmate line in astrocartography, your partner might be from there, or you might meet your partner there. Now, for soulmate specific, we look at the 7th house and the planet Venus. Okay, this is the strongest significations when we're looking specifically for marriage and soulmate partnership. We're looking for positive dignities and positions in the 7th house and the planet Venus. And also, because Venus rules Taurus and Venus rules Libra, we're also looking at Taurus and Libra. Highly auspicious vibrations that take place in the 7th house, in Venus, in Taurus, or in Libra, this can show incredible marriage potential, both in the chart and where that line is. For example, if a planet has positive dignity in the 7th house, this will show great marriage potential. Let's say the planet in the 7th house has challenging dignity or challenging position. Bet my favorite example, debilitated Mars in the 7th house. Let's say individual has a debilitated planet, but especially debilitated Mars in the 7th house. This can create heavily inauspicious, very challenging marriage vibrations. So then you want to look to the ruler of that house. Let's say the debilitated Mars is Cancer. So then Cancer, what position is the moon in? If the moon is in a good position, then the moon line might be more auspicious for soulmate than the Mars line, because Mars has debilitation. Also, when the ruler of the 7th house is in 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, 10th house, 5th house, or 9th house, that's usually a good signification. If the ruler of the karma houses, especially the 7th house, is in a Kendra or trine position, When looking for AC-related soulmate energy, we also look at Venus. Venus is the planet of the soulmate. Venus is the planet of romantic love. So just like you look in the 7th house, Taurus, Libra, you also look strongly at Venus. We must look at dignity of Venus. That means Venus exaltation, debilitation, friendly sign, enemy sign. This has to be considered. And if any planets are a complete aspect or in a conjunction with Venus, must be integrated as well. So you're not just looking at the dignity of Venus alone, you're looking at aspects and conjunctions. Now, if Venus position and conjunction is auspicious, then most often the Venus ACG line will be very favorable to support the partnership. In other words, if you have a happy Venus in your chart, then the Venus line is good for marriage. The Venus line is good for soulmate. However, if the Venus position is inauspicious, then you look at the ruler of Venus's sign. So let's say that Venus is in Virgo, where Venus go debilitation. Venus hate being Virgo. Well, then look at Virgo ruler Mercury. And if Mercury is in good position, also favorable for the soul partnership. So just because 7th house is negative, just because Venus is negative, look at those houses' rulers for more positive energy. Let's take a look at an example together just to kind of understand how this process works. We're going to be looking at Kṣaṇāti and soulmate partnership based on my chart here. I got the North Indian chart, I got the South Indian chart, and we're going to go into more detail about how mystical this is, about how I found my wife and everything. But I just want to show you how this analysis is done. So then you can go home, you'll be able to do this analysis for yourself, at least partially. At least you will be able to get some idea. And the whole point of the 10-class Astro Cartography course is that you will not only be able to interpret your own astrocartography, but you will be able to read and interpret other people's astrocartography. If you take this 10-class astrocartography course, you will be able to do astrocartography readings for others by the end of it. So this is an example about the method to understand the use. So when we're looking at this native's ACG card for Kṣaṇāti, we first focus on the 3rd house, 7th house, and the 11th house. And the 3rd house is Aries, so that's a rulership of Mars. And there's no Mars line in USA, so forget about that. No, here we're not looking at Mars for Kṣaṇāti. The 7th house planet is K2, which is actually considered malefic. But since the nodal line posits itself in the New England, USA, the ACG line might present certain opportunities for Kṣaṇāti here in New England. Most likely, however, nodal line in New England create confusion in relationship. Now, I'm married, but let's say I wasn't married, I might go to New England and have a relationship, but it would be a painful relationship. It would be a sad relationship. It wouldn't be a relationship line that would necessarily last very long. We're talking about K2 and Rahu here, and most often those energies that activate the relationship that are K2 Rahu, they can cause some challenges, and we know that. So the K2 Rahu line, it might have been auspicious for this person for dating, but not for long-term relationship. Especially with K2, Moksha Karaka. You do not want, it's hard enough to have Moksha Karaka in the house of relationship. You don't want to go somewhere and activate that. Unless you're ready to become brahmacharya, then maybe. Now the 7th house ruler is the sun, and the sun is in good dignity Scorpio in the Kendra of the 10th house. Therefore, this would signify Kṣaṇāti achievement energetically from my sun line. Again, the ruler of the 7th house is sun, and sun is in Kendra. So this has positive position of the sun supporting my Kṣaṇāti vibration overall. And there is a relationship to the 7th house, which does support soulmate partnership as well. So I do live in Philadelphia with my wife, and ever since I moved away from New Mexico, I like our home life even more. Okay. So now we look at the 11th house. Okay, we're looking at the 11th house, which is Saturn. Oh, I was just clicking on a chat comment. Seeing what everyone is. Where is Venus in astrocartography map? I cannot see it in the map on the site or on your graphic. Hello, Oleg. Just to kind of let you know, this green line here, you'll notice this green line, it is close to Denver in the United States. This dark green line is the Venus line. If you go to the top or the bottom of the line, here, right here in this little circle, that's the symbol for Venus. So whenever you're looking for the specific line, we're just looking for the symbol across the line. Did that answer the question? Okay, she sees green. Good. Yes, the dark green is Venus and the light green is Mercury. Dark green Venus, light green Mercury. So getting back to this analysis, we're looking at an 11th house Saturn in a natural position, okay? Saturn's favorite house is the 11th house. The 11th sign is Aquarius, So the 11th house is Saturn energy. But Sagittarius, the sign of Saturn, is not most comfortable. Therefore, nice karma potential from Saturn line, but because of the uncomfortable dignity of Saturn and nature of Saturn, it will have mixed effect. I imagine I could be successful in achieving certain things out there, but I will be sad. I will be lonely. I will be homesick. So when looking at Venus's position, to focus on the soulmate Venus energy, we look at the 9th house, and Venus is in its natural sign of Libra. So you have Venus in natural sign. This has strong romantic energy. This makes me very romantic person my entire life. And so that moon line and these Venus line, which get activated in this 9th house, are very strong for karma, and the Venus specifically very strong for the soulmate partnership. And we'll talk about this more, but I met my wife out there, and I actually proposed to her out there. I'll tell you all about it in the example later, but we're just learning the analytical process here. So overall, the Venus and moon line, very auspicious for karma, and the sun line, also auspicious for karma in this chart because of the favorable associations. Now, not everyone is married. Not everyone wants to get married. Some people just want to date. Some people just want to have romantic experiences. Some people have very unconventional understanding of relationship. So not all of the energy in the chart necessarily focus on marriage. There is a strong energy in the chart which focus on romance, which focus on attraction, which focus on sexual energy. I don't mean to be too controversial, but we are going to talk about sexuality here and how we can use astrocartography to support our sexuality. An example, certain people struggle with what is called low libido. Low libido means no sexual desire, no sexual appetite. With men, they suffer something like erectile dysfunction, where their private part does not even work properly. And it's possible astrocartography can help this. You can go somewhere where you feel more connection for dating, feel more romantic energy, feel more sexual energy. So this is why we're going to use the astrocartography to support this as well. Now, when using ACG to manifest romantic and attraction, we focus on 5th house alone. Also, Venus, Taurus, and Libra. So again, bringing Venus back into it, but the main house for this romantic sexual energy is the 5th house. It's like the magnet which pulls two people together. Now, I always say when I do compatibility reading that there always needs to be both energy of 5th house and 7th house for successful relationship. Because the 5th house is what turns you on to your partner, but the 7th house is what makes your souls compatible for each other. So if there needs to be the fire in the relationship. Oftentimes this gets lost as marriage goes many, many years, but it does not have to, especially if you know what these energies are, or if you travel to these places where these energies are supported. When focusing on 5th house for romantic potential, we look for any planets in the 5th. Unless those planets are debilitated, usually the planetary line there will be supportive for romantic energy and dating. Just like how we were talking about that Rahu line in my astrocartography, it's probably be really good for dating and, having short-term, it's not supportive for marriage at all, but it is supportive for what you call flings, one-night stands, and any sort of those kind of things that people are into. But, I have no interest in those things. I'm a very happily married man, but some people live their life that way, where they're a permanent bachelor, permanent bachelorette. And these are the kinds of things you want to look for if you want that kind of life. those people deserve to be happy too. Usually, so if the planet is malefic or an enemy dignity, like for example, Rahu we were talking about, the dating will still be successful there. You're still going to have attraction in dating, but it will come with a cost. It will come with a price. Maybe it will be sexually transmitted disease. But in all seriousness, it probably just means that the relationship won't really work out in the long run. So if you're looking for a long-term relationship and there's negative dignity in the 5th house, it's not really going to support that. Focusing on romance, sexuality, and ACG here, where would be the best for dating? Where would be the best to have many relationship if that was something I was seeking? We will focus on the 5th house. 5th house sign is Gemini. So no planet, so we look at Gemini. Gemini ruler Mercury. Mercury is my Atma Karaka. Okay, so now we have the ruling planet being Atma Karaka in Kendra. So we have Atma Karaka Kendra conjunction here. So Mercury line, very good for my romantic energy. And then also we have Venus's position in a trine in the 9th house. And that also supports the Venus line being very favorable for romantic energy. So again, both in karma in general, in marriage, in romance, and sexuality, all is the same for me. 2 places in the United States are good. Northeast United States and desert. Just gonna talk about my example a little bit more. I don't necessarily like to talk about myself, but my experience with astrocartography is actually what converted me to becoming a believer. So this is why I like to share this, because it just blew me away. This is my astrocartography map again. Now, based on planetary significations in my chart, I can show that meeting and the development of the relationship with my wife was supported by astrocartography. It is a complete alignment that I met and married my wife because of astrocartography. Primary examples from my chart include Moon and Venus conjunction in the sign of Libra in the 9th house of my natal chart. Again, if you're looking here at the 9th house, we have Venus 22 degree, Moon 20 degree, Libra, natural sign. Moving back to the analysis, Moon and Venus lines located on either side of New Mexico, okay? So this is Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is exactly where I lived for many years. Here is the Moon line, and here is the Venus line. So one of my teachers, Simon Chikoisky, when he was looking at my astrocartography, he said, "Oh my God, you're between 2 lovely ladies." So, and both of those in Libra in my 9th house support strong romantic vibration here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay? Now, that is where I met my wife there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We were both enrolled at Dr. Vasant Lad's Ayurvedic Institute. We met at the orientation in October of 2014. Now, I entered my Moon Antardasha period. Now we're talking about magnet, how Dasha will act like magnet. I entered my Moon Antardasha period November 2014, which means it would activate 9th house. 1 month after moving New Mexico to study Ayurveda with Dr. Vasant Lad in Albuquerque. So that means 1 month after I moved to New Mexico, I start studying exactly where my moon line is. Okay? So basically, I moved to exactly where I needed to move to at the time that I needed to move there. I actually moved there 3 weeks earlier than I went into the dasha. I just think that is just so profound. Now, the Moon Antardasha, as well as the Moon ACG line, activate my 9th house, as well as Venus, Libra, and Venus line as well. So in combination with the love, romance, and significations in the natal chart here, Moon, Venus, Libra, 9th, and astrocartography lines, Moon and Venus in New Mexico, there was a divine alignment. In other words, we call this fate. Some things in fate, well, fate is not just something you cannot understand logic. Astrocartography helps us understand fate, okay? Because it was a line for me to meet my wife here. It was fate. We began our relationship 50% into the Antardasha. We were engaged 75% of the way into the Antardasha, and we got married 2 weeks after my Antardasha ended. In addition to that, the 9th house is the house of the guru and is the house of the Dharma. And so this was a place just, we're focusing on love today. But Dr. Lott is one of my gurus, and he is in New Mexico, and my line is there. And Amaji, Amritananda Mahima, is my highest guru, is my Sat guru. And I had to ask her to marry us in New Mexico. I had to get her approval to ask her to marry us in New Mexico. That was probably the scariest moment in my life. And then, because she joked, she goes, okay. She took a couple seconds, then she go, okay. But she made my heart race first. Yeah, and I also, by being close to my moon line with the activation of the guru, I got much closer, deeper relationship with my guru while I was in New Mexico as well. The second example, which we're going to be doing today, is a celebrity example. I sent in a bunch of people, and people like celebrities, and these are two very cool celebrities from the United States. Some of the best movies. You got Angelina Jolie, you got Brad Pitt. We got Brad Pitt, he's a Scorpio Lugna. He's got that handsome Scorpio look. And we got Angelina Jolie with the Cancer Venus. Oh, so sensual, so romantic, so feminine. So, you know, she's got that Cancer Venus vibe for sure. South Indian. So this is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's astrocartography map, okay? Here we have Brad Pitt on the left and Angelina Jolie on the right. I'll be going back and forth as I explain a little bit about their astrocartographies. So Angelina Jolie began her relationship with, by the way, they're divorced. We'll talk about that. Angelina Jolie began her relationship with Brad Pitt while he was still married to Jennifer Aniston, okay? It's just my general belief that if you start a relationship with another woman while you're still in an old relationship, that other relationship that you started is not going to work out. That's just karma. Like, if you understand karma, I think at least a little bit, you would know that if you're starting a relationship out of infidelity, then the new relationship that you create is not going to last because it started with you violating the trust of another person. But that's enough of my moral and ethical lecture. Angelina Jolie was in her Venus Rahu period at that time. You know, those energies are very sexual. It could be infidelity and all of those kind of things. Her Rahu being in the 5th house. We talked about what Rahu can do in the 5th house. When Rahu is influencing romance, it could show that something's going to be confusing. Rahu is deception. Rahu is deception. So this is kind of showing the energy that was kind of going on when she started to develop her relationship with Brad Pitt. The fact that he was married at that time as well, and the surprise pregnancy, and fact that she had to hide her pregnancy till the divorce was over. That is so Rahu. But also the 5th house is the house of children. Rahu always come in surprises. So that Rahu Dasha, it activates surprise pregnancy. And it was a secret. Rahu loved to keep secret. So all these energies of just the Rahu Venus, it's, in my opinion, a dark energy for a relationship to start under. Now, Angelina Jolie entered her Venus-Jupiter Dasha end of 2005. which in January 2006, she announced her pregnancy, but she was not able to admit initially due to Pitt's history and recent divorce with Jennifer Aniston. So when Angelina Jolie went from Rahu Dasha to the Jupiter Dasha, then she did not have to lie anymore. So this is just amazing that Rahu keep her lying, and then all of a sudden Jupiter make her tell the truth. It's so beautiful. But one thing you will notice is that her Jupiter line is near California. Angelina Jolie here has strong Jupiter line in Hollywood Jupiter line. We got a Hollywood Jupiter line. And when we're looking at her chart, we're looking at a ninth house in Pisces Jupiter. Very fortunate. Yeah. As well as a moon, and she also has moon and Mars there too. So even though her Jupiter line is in California, you also have moon and Mars. We know how moon and Mars are enemies and how Mars isn't always supportive for relationship. And Jupiter and moon and Mars are all together in the ninth house of her chart. This signifies many romance, love, marriage significations by the position of all these planets in the ninth house and the development of the secretive aspect, but then also the later coming to truth, because the ninth house is the spiritual evolution. So before it was Venus Rahu activating, which is like, the infidelity and the hiding of the pregnancy. But then the ninth house got activated and she got honest and she got real. And after that, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopted like 20 children from other countries. So for Brad Pitt, you will notice he does not have many planetary lines in the west coast of the United States. The closest is being Saturn, off in the Pacific Ocean. The closest line for Brad Pitt here is the Saturn line, which is not heavily influenced, but it's getting a subtle influence there. Brad Pitt had began the development of his relationship with Angelina Jolie when he was in his Jupiter-Saturn period. So the Saturn brought him out on the West Coast there. The Saturn period continues well into the birth of their first child as well. Brad Pitt's Saturn is conjunct with Venus. So when his Saturn get activated, his Venus also get activated. So heavily Venus activation near the Saturn line as well. And the ruler of, and as Pitt's being in Capricorn, okay. So we have Brad Pitt's energy of Venus, which looks to be strongly in the third house in the sign of Capricorn. His Jupiter, though, which is in the house of romantic energy, is in the fifth house. So that's very significant. The ruler of Pitt's seventh house, Venus, is conjunct with Saturn. This also shows another aspect here. Jupiter in the fifth house of children shows why he got Angelina Jolie pregnant during this period, because that always shows strong fertility. So that means if they were to have any unprotected relations, they would be likely to have pregnancy. So all of this energy really does show the strong nature of, so the Saturn line, as well as the Saturn subperiod, also shows difficult aspects of being married, tests, challenges, delays, obstacles, like the lying of the pregnancy. And then after this, while he was still in this period, he had to go through the process of the divorce with Angelina Jolie. He was hiding the with Jennifer Aniston. He was hiding the pregnancy from Jolie. And so all of these Saturn energies, which are very strong in California for Brad Pitt, were going to be some of the most challenging energies. But the Jupiter-Venus energy was also the secondary aspect of why he had a relationship at that time and why he had a child at that time, because Jupiter is in his fifth house position. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed our webinar today. Are there any questions that anyone has that we can answer? Now would be a good time to answer any live questions from the community. Does anyone have any questions on any of the topics which we have discussed?
Yes, you can put your questions in the Q&A section.
Again, my name is Kṣaṇāti. Always any questions you have about webinars, anything we discuss, need any private astrological support, I'm here for you. Again, this is all of my information. Okay, we have a question coming in. 1 second. Okay, here we go. So if you move to that particular area, then the energy will be present. Or if you are traveling through that area like vacation, okay, so as soon as you enter within 100 miles of that line, that energy is activated. So even when you are traveling through a place, even in a plane, when the traveling is going on so very, very fast, all of the energy will shift. You'll feel 2 hours into the flight, one person out, one feeling. 2 hours into the flight, another feeling. Especially on long road trips. Some of the reason that long road trips are the most difficult is because you have to deal with so many planetary energies over a course of period that it can become overwhelming. That's why plane rides are also very exhausting, because you have to deal with all of these planetary energies in a very short period of time. The longer you stay in a place where a line is, I guess the energy does get stronger, but you will feel that energy as soon as you are within 100 miles of the line. Okay, here's another question. What if Venus and 7th Lord Mercury, but what if Venus in 7th Lord Mercury is combust in the 6th house? Savitaji, what is the position of, so are you saying you have Venus? The Venus is the Lord of your 7th house and it is combust in the 6th? Because you say if Venus in Lord 7th Mercury, Savitaji, what sign is your Venus in? Savitaji, which sign and house is your Venus in? Then your Venus line is going to be very, very favorable. Your Venus, if your Venus is in Taurus, then you shall know that your Venus line is highly favorable for karma, romance, relationship, all of that energy. If it's conjunction with Mercury in the 6th house, you might have some communication difficulties, but overall that Venus line, very, very supportive for you, my friend. Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, here's a few more questions from Oleg. Where is Venus? Oh, there, that was earlier. How do vortex points act on us? Is that the strongest influence in that particular place? I love that question. And actually, yes, you mentioned that. So I'm going to go back to a map here just to kind of show where that energy is going to be showing up. Okay. Oh, wow. There's no, so let me show you a good vortex here. So yeah, right here, this black line, again, this is a Chiron line, which is a Western planet. So don't worry about that. In the Vedic astrology, we always focus on the Navagraha planets before we do the Western outer planets like Uranus, Neptune. I do them in my Astro Cartography reading, but they're not as important as the Navagraha. But just to explain your question, this black circle here, this is a Chiron Vortex. That is the strongest point for that planet. That is close to Manila in the Philippines for me. So if I was to go to the Philippines, I would feel that energy incredibly strongly. It would be extremely powerful there. These vortexes are high points of concentration. And even if it's a positive planet, the vortex can be challenging because the energy is so concentrated. Great. I think that's all the questions, Madhuraji.
Yes.
Well, I hope oh, here we go.
Yes, we have one more.
Okay. If Venus, Lord of seventh house, neither of them are good dignity. Then we move on to the planets sitting in Taurus and Libra. Yes. And this is some of the advanced astrocartography we'll be discussing. When there is no associations with the seventh house or seventh house Lord, also look at the fifth house and the fifth house Lord. Can't find any positive energies there. Look at Taurus and look at Libra. And if you have any planets in Taurus and Libra and they're fairly happy there, that can also be very supportive, very auspicious. So yes, good intuition there, G. Just going to give one more minute if anyone has any last minute questions before we close for the day.
Yes, sure.
Looks like that's it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well,
Great.
This has been Anna Medora. It looks like we'll be able to squeeze this into a one-part video.
Yes, one part. Absolutely, yes.
So that's fantastic.
Yes.
Last thing I want to say, May 20th, 10-week astrocartography course. There's no one else other than Saptarishi doing this kind of Vedic astrocartography, and I highly, highly recommend joining the course. If you have any questions about it, please email me. Let's have a conversation. Really looking forward to having some more researchers with me. So, and Medora and I would just love for you to join us.
Yes, absolutely. And really, we have one more question. You want to take it?
Sure.
Yes.
Oleg, so if three energy vortexes, if in one place, those planets are Mercury in sixth house, Venus, Mars, and Sun in seventh house, is that where I am finding love? Venus exalted Pisces. As I mentioned, those energy vortexes, it will probably, yes, be very supportive for love. But I never recommend usually that someone go where there are many vortexes because there is no time to breathe, no time to relax. We talk about certain places in the world being like karma acceleration. And whenever we have these vortexes, it's much place of karmic acceleration. So yes, if you really, it will support the relationship. It will support that. But it's just so hyper concentrated that there might be some overwhelming energies there as well. So you might want to find a Venus line, but that is a little further away from vortex, or a place where there is only one positive vortex, but not three vortexes all on top of each other. Yeah, of course. Happy to support Oleg.
Yes. Wonderful. So, guys, this was just a preview, and I'm sure there is going to be a lot more in the course itself. So, I highly recommend all of you to join the course. And there's going to be a lot of homework, and you can ask as many questions to Kṣaṇāti as possible. And I'm sure he'll be really happy to answer all the questions and clear all your doubts. So, guys, and we are doing a live darbar that we did previously, but again, in I think coming week, you're going to do it, right?
Friday.
Yes, Friday. So do join us on YouTube as well. It will be a live webinar where Kṣaṇāti will again answer your live questions. And thank you so much for joining this webinar. And I really expect all of you to join our course. And thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti, for doing these webinars and giving us preview that what we can expect in the course. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate your work.
Oh, thank you so much, Madhurji. You're such a blessing for me and the Saptarishi community, and I am forever in debt to you, and just so grateful for everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night and a very good morning in the different parts of the world. So thank you so much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Bye-bye.